Hello dear students, welcome to the next module of the history lesson. Here we will be studying about making of nation and few terms which are related to this. So let's begin. So the name of the module is the making of the national movement. Now the module name is So the name of the module is the making of the national movement. And in this module, we will be coming across several sub-modules, which are the emergence of nationalism, a nation in the making, freedom is our birthright, that is Swaraj, the growth of mass nationalism, the advent of Mahatma Gandhi, and the Rowlatt Satyagraha. Now, what is the emergence of nationalism? India was the people of India. All the people, irrespective of class, color, caste, creed, language, or gender, are Indians. The awareness of being Indian and that its resources and systems were meant for all of them, which led to see the true nature and role of British in India. The political associations came into being in the 1870s and 1880s. Pune Sarvajanik Sabha and many other associations function in specific parts of the country, and their goals were to be stated as the goals of all people of India, not those of any one region. They worked with the idea that people should be sovereign, a modern consciousness and a key feature of nationalism. Now, the Arms Act was passed in this time in 1878, disallowing Indians from possessing arms. The Vernacular Act in 1878, which allowed the government to confiscate the assets of newspapers, including their printing process, if the newspapers published anything that was found objectionable. In 1883, Lord Ripon's law member, Sir Courtenay Ilbert, introduced a bill called the Ilbert Bill. The bill provided for the trial of British or European persons by Indians and sought equality between British and Indian judges in the country. The bill costed widespread education among the white who strongly opposed the bill and forced the government to withdraw it. The Indian National Congress, which was established in 1885 by a British servant, that is a British civil servant. He was basically a British civil servant. Alan Octavian. The Indian National Congress, which was established in 1885 by a British civil servant, or Alan Octavian Hume. It includes 72 delegates from different parts of the country as the leaders of the organization, whereas the names were Dadabhai Nauroji, W.C. Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee, Ramesh Chandra Datta, S. Subramaniam Iyer, Firoz Shah Mehta, and Badruddin Tyabji. So, dear students, always remember the role these people played in the freedom of India. Now, a nation in the making. Now, how was a nation made? That is the India today. India was made. Indian National Congress had two groups, namely moderates and radicals. Moderates were those who believed in pleading with British government to bring about reforms, but radicals were those who wanted to oppose the British strongly. They were in favor of strikes and boycott. A greater voice for Indians in the government and in administration was their demand. It demanded the separation of judiciary from the executive, the repeal of Arms Act, and freedom of speech and expression. The early Congress raised a number of economic issues, declared that the British rule had led to poverty and famines, increased in land revenue had impoverished peasants and zamindars and that there were food shortage because of export of grains to Europe. Now, next term, which is very important in this chapter, is that the freedom is our birthright. Now, who said this? Bal Gangadhar Tilak. In Bengal, Maharashtra, and Punjab, leaders such as Bipin Chandra Pal, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Lala Lajpat Rai were popularly known as Lal Bal Pal, strongly criticized the policies of the colonial government. They demanded Swaraj. Tilak declared, Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. In 1905, voice records and announced the partition of the biggest province of India, Bengal, which included Bihar and parts of Orissa at that time. The partition of Bengal infuriated people all over India. Both the moderates and radicals protested the partition. Large public meetings and demonstrations were organized. People, in order to show that they are united, tied Rakhi on each other's wrist and celebrated Raksha Bandhan, and this led to the birth of the Swadeshi movement. तो इस यहाँ से हम क्या देख सकते हैं कि धीरे धीरे यूनिटी डेवलप हो रहा था. हर एक इंडियन ये समझ चुका था कि एक ही एक दूसरे का भाई है, और तब जाति भेदाभेद या फिर हिंदू मुसलमान के बीच में झगड़ा ये सब नहीं था. तो क्या किया, हर एक इंसान ने इरेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ सभी कास्ट में से एक दूसरे को राखी पहनाया, जैसे जो कि एक सुरक्षा का, एक दोस्ती का प्रतीक था, और रक्षाबंधन सेलिब्रेट किया, और इसी के साथ शुरू हुआ हमारे देश का स्वदेशी मूवमेंट. नाउ द ग्रोथ ऑफ मास नेशनलिज्म, मतलब पूरे जो इंडिया का इतना ज्यादा रिच पॉपुलेशन है, सब में नेशनलिज्म कैसे स्प्रेड हुआ. After 1919, the struggle against British rule gradually became a mass movement involving peasants, tribals, students, and women in large numbers, and factory workers. The First World War broke out in 1914 and altered the economic and political situation in India. India was dragged into war, and this led to a huge rise in defense expenditure of the government of India. Increased military expenditure and the demands for war supplies led to a sharp rise in prices, which created great difficulties for the common people. The war leads the British to expand their army. The government forced the villages in India to send their soldiers for an alien cause or course. So 1919 के बाद struggle अगेंस्ट ब्रिटिश रूल और भी ज्यादा बढ़ने लगा, और ये ऑल मतलब सोसाइटी का हर एक सेक्टर तक पहुंच गया था. पीजेंट्स, ट्राइबल, स्टूडेंट्स, इवन महिलाएं बहुत लार्ज नंबर्स में इस रिवोल्ट में शामिल होने लगे, और फैक्ट्री वर्कर्स भी. पहला वर्ल्ड वार जब हुआ इन 1914, ये इंडिया का इकोनॉमिक और पॉलिटिकल कंडीशन को पूरा चेंज कर दिया. इंडिया को जोर जबरदस्ती इस वॉर में ढकेल दिया गया, और इसमें क्या हुआ, इंडिया का डिफेंस का एक्सपेंडिचर खर्चा बढ़ गया, और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया बहुत ज्यादा खर्च में चला गया. और मिलिट्री एक्सपेंडिचर बढ़ने के साथ और वॉर का जो सप्लाईज का डिमांड था वो भी बढ़ने के साथ क्या हुआ, सब हर कोई चीज का प्राइस भी बढ़ गया, और कॉमन पीपल के लिए अपना पेट चलाना बहुत मुश्किल हो गया. और इस वॉर की वजह से ब्रिटिश को ज्यादा आर्मी भी चाहिए था, इसीलिए गवर्नमेंट ने क्या किया, इंडिया से लोग लेके वो अपने लिए युद्ध करने भेजे थे. और इंडिया के लोग जिनको कोई पता ही नहीं था क्या हो रहा है, कहाँ हो रहा है, वो एक अननोन कॉज और एलियन कॉज के लिए फाइट करने चले गए। Now the advent of Mahatma Gandhi. Now we will come to know about the personality of a very important person, that is Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was born on 2nd October 1869 at Port Bandar in Gujarat. He studied law in England and went to South Africa to practice law and stayed there for 20 years. He emerged as a mass leader of India. In South Africa, Gandhiji struggled for the Indians in non-violent marches against racism, that is, skin color discrimination, and had earned great respect and popularity both at national and international level. Mahatma Gandhi spent his initial years in India traveling throughout the country, understanding the people, their needs, and the overall situation. Gandhiji launched local movements in Champaran, Khera, and Ahmedabad in which he received success. Gandhiji's method of fighting was known as Satyagraha, which was based on the principle of truth and non-violence. तो गांधी जी लड़ने का क्या रास्ता अपनाया था? सत्याग्रह, जिसका मतलब ये था सच्चाई और नॉन वायलेंस, मतलब हथियार के बिना लड़ना। तो ये दो चीजें था सत्याग्रह का मेन वे। अब ये रोलत सत्याग्रह क्या है? 1919 साल में गवर्नमेंट में एक लॉ पास किया जिसका नाम था रोलत एक्ट, जो कि प्रोविंशियल गवर्नमेंट को ये पावर देता था कि कोई भी जगह वो सर्च कर सकते हैं और कोई भी किसी भी पर्सन को वो सस्पेक्ट अगर करे तो उसको अरेस्ट कर सकते हैं वारंट के बिना। तो गांधी जी इस सत्याग्रह एक अपनाया इस रोलत एक्ट के विरुद्ध, जिसमें कोर्ट से उन्होंने क्या मांगा? फंडामेंटल राइट्स मांगा, मतलब बेसिक राइट्स मांगा एक इंसान के लिए, हर एक इंडियन के लिए, जो कि फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन और सबको अपना स्ट्रेंथ, मतलब पुलिस पावर से छुटकारा मिले। क्योंकि रोलत एक्ट ने क्या किया था, वो कोर्ट को सब राइट्स दे दिया था, फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन और पुलिस पावर को भी बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ा दिया था, जो कि पब्लिक की पावर को बहुत कम कर दे रहा था। महात्मा गांधी और मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना ये दो ऐसे पर्सनालिटी थे जो हिंदूज और मुस्लिम्स को एक करके रूल करना चाह रहे थे और इस नेशनल मूवमेंट को आगे ले जा रहे थे। तो इन्होंने क्या बोला, ये एक बहुत ही अत्याचारी रूल है। और अप्रैल 1919 में एक नेशन वाइड हड़ताल हुआ और क्या किया गवर्नमेंट ने, इसको कम करने के लिए उन्होंने एक बहुत ही बुरा तरीका अपनाया। जलियनवाला बाग मसाकर हुआ जनरल डायर की इंस्ट्रक्शन के अनुसार अमृतसर में। कौन से दिन में? बैशाखी दिन में, इसको रिप्रेस करने के लिए, मतलब इस हड़ताल को बंद करने के लिए। So the Rowlatt Satyagraha in 1990, the government passes the Rowlatt Act, and it empowered the provincial government to search any place and arrest any person whom it suspected without a warrant. Now, what did Gandhiji do? Gandhiji launched a satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act, in which the court has the fundamental rights such as the freedom of expression and strengthened police powers. Now, what did Mahatma Gandhi do? Mahatma Gandhi and Muhammad Ali Jinnah criticized the actor's definition tyrannical. This will be the act as tyrannical. मतलब उन्होंने बोला कि ये बहुत ही एक अनजस्ट और अन्याय वाला डिसीजन था ब्रिटिश ईस्ट इंडिया रूल का या फिर ब्रिटिश ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी का। और व्हाट हैपेंड इन 1919 a nationwide hartal was being held and the government took brutal measures to suppress them. The Jallianwala Bagh massacre happened and it was done by whom? General Dyer in Amritsar on Baishakhi Day as a part of the repression. The picture here shows the friendship between Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Mahatma Gandhi ji. So this is how the people of India started the national movement, and after many brutal tortures, they did not give up. They still went on continuing the war for, or the efforts for getting freedom. Thank you.